जब मैंने पूछा खौफ और ख्वाब में कितना फासला होता है, तब मेरे ये गेस्ट उनके खुद के शब्दों में उनका खुद का गाना वो सुना के मुझे जवाब देते हैं। आप भी सुन लीजिए, शायद आपको भी जवाब मिल जाए।
उड़ने से हम न डरते हैं, खौफ है तो नीचे गिर जाने का। हारने से ख्वाब न मरते हैं, खौफ है तो पीछे रह जाने का। आंखें नीचे भर ले उड़ान ये तेरी, फिर से उठ के सुन ले पुकार ख्वाबों की दास्तां। ये मुमकिन नहीं है धरती पे, कारवां को बढ़ना नहीं जो तू पीछे। तो उड़ जरा, चारों ओर आसमां है, उड़ जरा, पूरी करनी दास्तां है, चल जरा। रुक गया क्यों कारवां है, चल जरा, तू ही इसका रहनुमा है। उड़ जरा तू आसमां में, उड़ जरा तू साथ मेरे, चल जरा मिला कदम तू, चल जरा भुला फिकर तू, उड़ जरा।
ये गाना ही आज के गेस्ट की पहचान करा देती है। हार्दिक वाघेला इनका नाम है। सॉन्ग राइटर, म्यूजिशियन, एजुकेटर, एंटरप्रेन्योर और आयरन मैन ट्रायथलॉन के लिए खुद को प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं। और हाँ, यही तो जज्बा है। वेलकम टू द शो जज्बा, जिसमें एवरी वीक मैं इंस्पायरिंग गेस्ट की स्टोरी लेके आ रहा हूं। शायद आपको कहीं आपकी जर्नी में आपकी चैलेंज को ओवरकम करने में काम में आ जाए। स्टे ट्यून्ड। और खास बात, जस्ट ज्वाइन फेसबुक ग्रुप, लिंक इन दिस एपिसोड डिस्क्रिप्शन, ताकि आपको ऐसी ही स्टोरीज गेस्ट के बारे में अपडेट मिलती रहे और जज्बा कम्युनिटी के साथ आप ज्वाइन हो सको। जहां पे भी हो आपकी लाइफ की जर्नी में, यू कैन ज्वाइन जज्बा। I love the way when I ask हार्दिक म्यूजिक क्या है आपके हिसाब से?
When you have a lot of personal experiences, when you share it with somebody, they become stories. And when those stories, we weave it into words and it becomes poetry. And that poetry we color with music, right? And that becomes a song. And then that song, when it is presented to somebody, it becomes a performance. And that is how the entire cycle works. And if you trace it back, it is somebody's very personal experience, very personal thoughts. They put it out in the hopes that somebody will connect with it. तो जितना मेरे thoughts है, whatever I am going through, I write it in a song, I present it. Hope that anyone who is probably going through the same thing that I am going through, they will connect with it.
क्या आपको याद है वो आपकी स्कूल के दिन, वो बचपन, वो स्कूल में जाके प्रार्थना करना, वो संगीत के टीचर का आना और हारमोनियम पेटी को बजाना, तबला को सुनना, और वो संगीत के क्लास का इंतज़ार करना, अगर आपको भी शायद मेरी तरह संगीत पसंद हो तो। बस कुछ ऐसे ही वो स्कूल के दिनों में ही ये मेरे गेस्ट हार्दिक, उनका लव संगीत के लिए शुरू हुआ था।
बचपन से लाइक इन स्कूल हमारा म्यूजिक क्लास हुआ करता था, हॉबी क्लासेस थे। वी हैड टू चूज कि हारमोनियम होता था, सिंगिंग होता था, वायलिन होता था। तो आई स्टार्टेड विथ सिंगिंग। और उस टाइम पे वी यूज्ड टू पार्टिसिपेट इन दिस थिंग कॉल्ड पेट्रियाटिक सॉन्ग कॉम्पिटिशन। तो हम लोग स्कूल में से एक छोटा ग्रुप बनाया था सर ने, एंड आई वाज पार्ट ऑफ दैट ग्रुप। और पूरा हम लोग सिटी लेवल एंड देन वी काइंड ऑफ वेंट टू स्टेट लेवल एज वेल। एंड स्टेट लेवल में वी केम सेकेंड इन द पेट्रियाटिक सॉन्ग कॉम्पिटिशन। एंड उस टाइम पे आई वॉज रियली एक्साइटेड अबाउट म्यूज़िक। तो वो पूरा एक्सपीरियंस रह गया जहन में. What happened is then I became a teenager and my voice cracked, and then I stopped liking how I was singing, so I stopped singing. तो फिर next year I took violin. तो 2 साल वायलिन सीखा स्कूल में, फिर 1 साल तबला भी सीखा. तो इट वॉज काइंड ऑफ म्यूजिक में ऑलवेज कंटिन्यूएशन था, कुछ ना कुछ.
कॉलेज की लाइफ आपको याद है? अरे आपको पूछ रहा हूँ, आप लोग जो मेरी और हार्दिक की बातें सुन रहे हो, याद कर लो अपने कॉलेज के दिन. वो कैंटीन, वो फटी पुरानी जीन्स पहनना और कटिंग चाय भैया लाना, और तभी तीसरा दोस्त आ जाता है, अरे भाई मेरे लिए भी चाय दो यार. फिर वो कटिंग चाय में से एक और चाय बढ़ती है. यानी कि कॉलेज में जो फ्रीडम मिलता है उसमें काफ़ी सारा एक्सपोजर मिल जाता है.
और फिर फर्स्ट ईयर ऑफ कॉलेज में जब मैं गया तो सीनियर्स ने एक फ्रेशर्स के लिए पार्टी रखी थी. तो उसमें मैंने कीबोर्ड पे कल होना हो बजाया. उस टाइम पे देयर वाज वन सीनियर हु हैड लर्नड क्लासिकल म्यूजिक फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम एंड दे वर प्लानिंग टू फॉर्म अ बैंड. तो चिरायु था उनका नाम. तो चिरायु मेरे सीनियर, तो ही सेड के आप बहुत अच्छा बजाता है, कम वी आर ट्राइंग टू फॉर्म अ बैंड. तो एक दूसरा मैकेनिकल का बंदा है राहुल करके, उसके घर पे हम सब लोग मिल रहे हैं, तो आ जा. एंड देन आई टुक माई कीबोर्ड, आई वेंट टू देयर हाउस एंड सब लोग ऐसा जैम कर रहे थे. और आई वॉज लाइक दिस वॉज ब्यूटिफुल फॉर मी. इधर एक बंदा बेस बजा रहा है, गिटार बजा रहा है, तबला लेके बैठा है और मैं कीबोर्ड पे, एंड वी स्टार्टेड जैमिंग.
So what was the name of your first music band back then in college?
तो हमारे बैंड का नाम साज था. एंड थ्रू ऑल ऑफ दीज बैंड मेंबर्स ओनली आई लर्नड टू लिसन टू ऑल डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ म्यूजिक. कॉलेज के पीछे एक फ्री हॉल था, तो हमने टीचर्स से और प्रिंसिपल से जो भी परमिशन लेके बोला हम लोग उधर रिहर्सल करेंगे. तो एवरी डे वी यूज्ड टू गो रिहर्स देयर. कॉलेज में हमने परफॉर्मेंस किया कॉलेज के इवेंट्स में. And then we started performing outside also. Do you remember this movie Rock On, right? और Rock On में एक सीन है जहाँ पे इन सबको पैसा चाहिए होता है एंड वो शादी में जाके परफॉर्म करते हैं. That is exactly what happened to us. तो हम लोग जब Rock On देख रहे थे, हमने बोला अरे ये तो हमने किया हुआ है ऑलरेडी, right? Because we remember as a band we got this शादी में परफॉर्म करने का. ये परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं. उस टाइम पे वी वर परफॉर्मिंग कॉलोनियल कजिन्स एंड लॉट ऑफ इंडी पॉप स्टफ, राइट. पर बाकी वो नॉर्मल जनता को समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. और ये गुजरात में था. तो somebody came to us, अरे बेबी डॉल वगाड़ो ने. तो so that was exactly the experience. Like they were Rock On में वो लोग भी कुछ ऐसा ही बजा रहे थे, गरबा वरबा, which like they kind of were not interested in but they had to play.
एक और चीज़ मुझे सीखने को मिलती है कि अगर हम अपने जैसे लाइक माइंडेड कम्युनिटी के साथ अगर कनेक्ट होते हैं तो हम काफ़ी आगे बढ़ सकते हैं. फिर चाहे वो वेबसाइट हो, ब्लॉग्स हो, वेबिनार हो, डिस्कॉर्ड हो या इवन पॉडकास्ट.
There was this website called Indian Guitar Forum, कुछ तो था ऐसा. And I joined that and there were a lot of musicians there. And I noticed also Ehsan from Shankar Ehsan Loy, Ehsan Nurani. He was also part of the forum at that point of time. तो he used to post वहाँ पे कि दिल चाहता है मैंने ये वाले chords मैंने यूज़ किए हैं, right? And then there were a lot of people, we kind of became friends chatting there on the forum itself. And everyone used to try to figure out new songs. क्या अच्छी, चलो अभी ये नया गाना है, कौन इसके सही कॉर्ड्स निकालेगा. फिर सब लोग पोस्ट करते थे और फिर दूसरे कुछ एक्सपीरियंस म्यूजिशियंस वो लोग कॉर्ड्स करेक्ट करते थे, इसकी जगह ये बजाओ, ये ज़्यादा अच्छा लगेगा. सो आई रियली गॉट इन्वॉल्व्ड इन दैट. दैट्स वेयर आई लर्न मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टफ. लाइक,
Don't you think this is the advantage of working with like-minded people in the community where we can still work on hobby and on our side hustle? That's what helped even Hardik as well.
I learned it like this through friends, through forums. In fact, कॉलेज में एज बैंड जो सांस था, then उनके दोस्त लोग थे. Remember, we used to go through this place. सयाजी हॉस्पिटल था, उसके सामने एक टपरी होती थी और उसके पीछे थोड़ा जंगल जैसा था. तो every night all of us used to go meet there. There are a lot of friends from architecture college और हम लोग टेक्नोलॉजी फैकल्टी में थे. तो इंजीनियरिंग से, आर्किटेक्चर से, परफॉर्मिंग आर्ट से सब लोग वहाँ पे आके मिलते थे. और फिर रात को पूरी रात हम लोग चाय सुट्टा गाना. एवरीबडी इज टीचिंग ईच अदर कि देख आज मैंने ये वाला गाना सीखा. And he'll come and he'll play and we are like, oh क्या बात है, मजा आ गया. All of us learned stuff like this from each other. There was no like internet and the kind of access people have right now. We didn't have that.
सच में ये सुन के ऐसा नहीं लगता है कि हमारी कंपनी, यानी कि हम किस तरीके के दोस्तों के साथ रहते हैं, कैसा टाइम स्पेंड करते हैं, ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट होता है हमारी कैरियर या जहाँ पे भी हम हो, 30-40 अरे कितने भी एज के हो, हम क्या बनना चाहते हैं वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा डिपेंड करता है हम किन के साथ, किन दोस्तों के साथ टाइम स्पेंड करते हैं. हार्दिक की ये बातें सुन के आपको नहीं लगता है वही चाय सुट्टा और गाना, वो बस अपने दोस्तों के साथ रियाज यानी कि जामिंग बस करते रहते थे और उसी में ही सच में संगीत का वो जज्बा उनमें आया था, एक दूसरे को सिखाना और बजाना, जस्ट उसी में ही वो जिंदगी जी लेते थे.
It became like a very like वो नशा जैसा हो गया कि this is day night, this is what we are doing. And उसके वजह से like one of the semesters I got 80 KT in a subject also.
कॉलेज लाइफ खत्म होती है, उनको 2 कंपनी से जॉब की ऑफर आती है. वो सिलेक्ट वही कंपनी करते हैं जिनमें उनका पुराना साथीदार, उनका बैंड का साथी जो वो कंपनी में ऑलरेडी काम करता होता है. बस चॉइस बन गई वही दोस्त जिनके साथ मैं फिर से म्यूज़िक बना पाऊँ. याद है ना आपको, उनका वो साज नाम का म्यूज़िक बैंड कॉलेज में हुआ करता था. फिर क्या, वो ज्वाइन करते हैं कॉग्निजेंट और वो कॉग्निजेंट के बेसमेंट में फिर से जैमिंग शुरू हो जाता है. म्यूज़िक यूनिवर्स आपको मिला ही देगा जो आप चाहते हो.
We started getting serious about forming a band and performing on a regular basis. And this is where Muneem comes into picture. We had kind of formed a band. 4 of us were in Cognizant. One guy was my roommate जिसके साथ मैं रह रहा था. तो he was fantastic guitarist, अर्जुन मेहंदी करके. तो हम सब ने मैं, राहुल, जतिन, अनंत, अर्जुन, हम सब ने साथ में मिलके वी डिसाइडेड टू स्टार्ट अ बैंड. एंड एट दैट टाइम अर्जुन वाज टेकिंग गिटार क्लासेस बाय द नेम ऑफ हाईवे 61. सो ही जस्ट डिसाइडेड टू कॉल द बैंड हाईवे 61. और फिर एक दिन पुणे सिटी होता था एंड यू कुड पोस्ट लाइक फ्री एड्स इनटू दैट. तो उसने उसमें डाला था. वो क्लासिफाइड देख के मुनीम ने अर्जुन को फ़ोन किया और दे काइंड ऑफ स्पोक. बोथ ऑफ देम वर पैशनेट अबाउट म्यूजिक. दोनों ने बहुत फंडे मारे एक दूसरे में. एंड देन अर्जुन सेड, हम लोग एक बैंड बना रहे, व्हाई डोंट यू कम मीट अस. फिर औंध में एक कैफ़े हुआ करता था एंड वी ऑल मेट एट दैट कैफ़े एंड दैट इज़ वेयर मुनीम काइंड ऑफ ऑडिशनड फॉर अस. एंड मुनीम sang 3 of his songs. तो उस टाइम जो उसने लिखे हुए थे, तो ही sang उम्मीद, ही sang मज़हब एंड ही sang a song called कश्मीर. एंड मैं और राहुल एक दूसरे को देख रहे हैं जब वो गा रहा है एंड वी आर लाइक बहुत पोटेंशियल है, राइट. एंड देन वी सेड लेट्स डू दिस. सो वी स्टार्टेड जैमिंग and Muneem somehow got this show which was in Shaniwar Wada. तो शनिवार वाड़ा में some I think Kashmiri event was going on, and he kind of convinced somebody to give us a slot to perform there for like half an hour, 45 minutes. We got our first show and we decided to perform all original music. तो मुनीम के ऑलरेडी कुछ लिखे हुए गाने we kind of placed it into the band. As a band also we created 2 or 3 new songs which we wrote like with Muneem वहीं पे साथ में. So our first show was in Shaniwar Wada in Pune with 7 original songs. Original गाने कर रहे हैं, 7 गाने किए. First show at such a huge stage, you know. Time, you know, somebody also told us के whatever starts at Shaniwar Wada, it goes a long way. So that's where the whole entire journey started. This was 2008. 2008 we started the band Highway 61 करके. And then as we started growing, we started participating in national rock band contests.
ऐसा लगता है ना ये भी एक मूवी है. अरे ये तो सचमुच की इंस्पायरिंग कहानी है हार्दिक वाघेला की. और ये कहानी हर लोगों के साथ होती है जिन से एटलीस्ट मैंने बात की है ये मेरे पॉडकास्ट में. आप जो चाहो ना और उसके पीछे अगर लग जाओ ना, वो अपने आप अपने टाइम पे ऐसे लोगों से या ऐसी सिचुएशंस में आप पहुंच ही जाते हो.
During that time we won 10 national rock band contests. So उस टाइम पे ऐसा हो गया था कि हम लोग कहीं पे जाते थे और दूसरे बैंड हमको देखते थे because there were very limited number of bands also at that time of in India. तो हम सब लोग सारे कॉन्टेस्ट में पार्टिसिपेट करते थे. Like so then the other bands used to notice us कि अरे यार ये लोग आगे जीत के चले जाएंगे.
ब्रायन एडम्स आते हैं पुणे में और उनके कॉन्सर्ट में हार्दिक का वो बैंड हाईवे 61 30,000 लोगों के सामने परफॉर्म करते हैं. और अगर हम फास्ट फॉरवर्ड करें, वो फेस सबको आता है जब शायद लोग आपको या आपके काम को नोटिस करने लगते हैं. कुछ ऐसा ही हुआ था हार्दिक की लाइफ में वो वक्त पे. और अनस्टॉपेबल, अब कोई वजह है वो काम ना करने की.
I was so involved, I was like यही करना है. That's when I decided to leave my job, but because हम लोग गुज्जू लोग हैं तो we can't just suddenly leave job, you know. Parents were like already हल्ला हो गया था. So I was like okay, पापा संभलो. What I will do is I will convert this into a business. So I went to SP Jain. So one of my friends was in the previous batch of this thing called Start Your Business. So they had started like a diploma course, weekend pay. I joined the next batch. So this is Start Your Business course in SP Jain in Mumbai. So for 3 months, I think the course was for 4 months, 4 or 5 months. And within the first month itself, I found this guy, योगेश राठौर. तो his son was learning from हमारा ड्रमर अनंत. बानेर रोड पे बीच में एक बास्किन रॉबिन्स हुआ करता था. अभी इट्स टर्न्ड इनटू अ किराना स्टोर, बट उसके नीचे देयर वाज अ बेसमेंट. सो वी हैड काइंड ऑफ टेकन दैट ऑन रेंट एज अ बैंड 6,000 per month, and we were rehearsing there. And Arjun and Anant, both of them were taking their classes also there. तो अनंत के ड्रम क्लास में this boy was, and उसके डैड योगेश. So I was waiting outside to के अनंत का खत्म होगा and then we'll jamming के लिए हम लोग रुके हुए थे. So योगेश and I started talking, and बातों बातों में ऐसा समझ में आया कि both of us were on that forum which I was there in my college during college time, guitar forum. Both of us had a chat also about how music education should be in the country. ऐसा होना चाहिए, वैसा होना चाहिए. तो हमने ऑलरेडी एक चैट किया हुआ था. So we were like, अरे वाह, what is this? Yeah, face to face, and like what a coincidence. So we started chatting and he said, you know, I have 2 other friends जिनके पास पैसा है and we all can invest in it. Let's try a pilot of a music academy for 3 months. and that is how Music Club was born. So his friends, so Devi sir, Devinder Chahal और विनय पेशवा एंड योगेश राठौर और मी, हम सब ने एक मीटिंग किया. वो कौन सा लेमन ट्री है इन हिंजवाड़ी, राइट? हाँ, लेमन ट्री होटल. सो दे कॉल्ड मी टू लेमन ट्री, वेंट फॉर अ लंच, एंड ओवर लंच वी ऑल स्पोक, एंड दे काइंड ऑफ were looking at how, you know, passionate this guy is. And of course, like the way I was talking about music and everything, they were like, हाँ ये कुछ तो है इस बंदे में. And that's when they said कि okay, let's invest, let's do a pilot. So we started Music Club on 20th June 2010, and this is the same time my entrepreneurship course is also going on. And I hadn't left also Cognizant at that point of time. So I'm doing, like, I'm waking up and going to office at 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'm working in the office job. फिर 5 से निकल के 6 बजे से, so 6 to 10 I am taking care of Music Club. एंड फिर डिनर करके 11 बजे सब बैंड मेंबर्स आते हैं. 11 से रात के 2 बजे तक हम लोग रिहर्स करते हैं, right? And then again 7 a.m. I'm waking up at 8 baje office. And this was on weekdays, and on weekends I used to go to Mumbai for entrepreneurship course. So for 3 months this was my schedule, like 8 to 5 office, 6 to 10 music club, 11 se 2 jamming, and weekends all day studying for entrepreneurship. And this was quite a challenging time for me, but I was so driven and passionate about this. यही करना है. And like, imagine the thing you love the most, you are just getting to do that day in and day out, and that's why it didn't feel like work to me. And फिर in 3 months, so June, July, August, September में our target was कि 3 months में if we have 50 students, then this is like a viable business. So 3 months में we had more than 50 students, and we were like, okay, let's do this. So I put down my papers and I left the job, and full time, that's when we started Music Club.
फुल टाइम म्यूजिक में मूव होना आसान नहीं होता है. क्या आपके मन में चल रहा था हार्दिक उस वक्त जब आप कॉग्निजेंट में थे? आई थिंक अराउंड 2007 में.
Yeah, so there is a very specific moment जो हम लोग, I think मुनीम और मैंने काफ़ी सारे इंटरव्यूज़ में भी बोला है. Like you said, you know, बॉस अगर अच्छा है तो you love doing the work, but अगर बॉस is not gelling well with you तो फिर आपको भी मज़ा नहीं आता है. तो I think I had that kind of experience, and I was crying sitting at my desk, और मैंने मुनीम को फ़ोन किया. मुनीम को बोला, भाई मुझे ये नहीं करना है, बहुत हो गया. I want to leave the job and music full time करना है. So I remember at that point of time, you know, कि I think what happens is you want to do something else, but you are kind of stuck doing something else. And when there is this pull between what you want to do and what you have to do, right? And that kind of creates this stir inside you. Again, awareness of what you really want to do. You know, आपके अंदर से क्या आवाज़ आ रही है. And sometimes I understand, you know, कि there are things that you have to do. I was very fortunate at that point of time. I was not married, no kids, nothing. And it was a very easy decision for me to leave the job and do this full time, because I could survive on 15,000 a month for a few years, because कोई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं था. मुझे सिर्फ रेंट देना था, खाना खाना था, that's all. But for somebody who is in a phase where they are married, they have responsibilities, they have children, I would definitely, I don't know who am I to suggest that, but everybody's you know your life better. So only way that you can understand what is going on is to start becoming aware of your own emotions and of your own like mind, कि क्या हो क्या रहा है आपके दिमाग में, you know. And this is where I think where you can just talk it out, कि देख ये हो रहा है, because sometimes क्या, most of the time there is chatter in our head, so it needs to come out. And I think that's where probably artists and people who draw and dance and express, like you, people who have a mode of expression, this comes out from there. So stuff that is going and the chatter in my head comes out in the form of a song. For somebody it comes out in form of an article, or somebody writes their own journal. Find an outlet, and it doesn't need to be artistic or creative. It can be just talking to somebody, some best friend that you have. If you don't have that, find a life coach, growth coach. Like my wife is a certified life coach, growth coach. So I've started speaking to her, like she is my life coach now. Just speaking the things, like putting the chatter in your brain into paper, into words, into sentences, kind of helps you sort it out yourself.
I must say, Hardik, that was very insightful. क्योंकि हमको जो करना पड़ रहा है, that is what we have to do, and what we love, what we want to do. There will always be a distance. And how can we close this distance? Maybe this is something coming from you, how you did it. This is your experience. It will certainly help whoever listening to this at this moment. Now let's talk about your music club. So again, I'm bringing you back to your music club journey back then. How it progressed, Hardik, ahead.
And that is where Sunday Jam also played a huge role. I think most of the people that know about music club have come through Sunday Jam. We have found a lot of amazing people also through Sunday Jam. So Sunday Jam, we started because what happened is, now I don't know, people can't see on the podcast, but ऐसा violin वाला gesture करके people were asking us कि मुझे गिटार सीखना है. तो हाथ से violin वाला gesture हो रहा है, but they are saying that गिटार सीखना है. And that's when we realized that there is not enough information or exposure to the general public about what instruments are, how songs are made, how the arrangement is made. As like Indians, I think most of us have focus on the vocals. We wanted to bring more focus towards the entire aspect of music, which is there are instruments, there is music production, there is a songwriter, there are lyricists, there are poets. Not only the singer, everybody is involved to make this product that you hear. And that's where we started this free Sunday Jam session every Sunday, 6 to 8 p.m. Sare instruments will be laid out. There will be musicians who will be playing. Our students are encouraged to come on stage and play. Initially, it was like a jam for us. So, मैं, Muneem, Rahul, Anand, Jatin, हम लोग सब वैसा होते थे, and we used to perform our songs. So, instead of jamming at night on Sunday, we used to just jam 6 to 8 दूसरे लोगों के साथ. And slowly, as students started learning and they started knowing more about music, they started performing. This became a thing कि हम लोग सबको बोलते थे. Even the inquiries which used to come on weekdays, we used to tell them कि एक काम करो, Sunday Jam में आ जाओ. And Sunday Jam में you will say, somebody says, मेरे बेटे को music सिखाना है. But पता नहीं कौन सा instrument, we don't know what he's interested in or what should we put him in. And we used to say, come to Sunday Jam. Let the child see all the different instruments being played, and naturally the child will get attracted to one of these instruments. And we have found such amazing people at Music Club. In fact, Shruti ma'am, who is one of the board of directors as well as principal at the Baner branch and Music Club, we found her through Sunday Jam. So now we are at this point in time where Music Club is going well. The band was doing pretty well. In fact, during this time, Coco from Agni, he gave us a contact. So in fact, somehow Coco and Shruti ma'am are really dear friends. So we kind of got in touch with Coco, and then in fact we had also opened for Agni in one of the shows. So a contest tha, one of the contests that we won, that's where Agni was judging the contest, and then we won that. We performed before them, we opened for them, and that's how we kind of got connected with them. And then we found out that Coco ko to Shruti ma'am bhi jante hai, and that's how like he came to one of the anniversaries. But through Coco, we found Ashish Manchanda. So Ashish Manchanda is a well-known producer, mixing engineer in Bollywood. So उन्होंने देव डी का सारा मिक्सिंग, so he was well known for that at that point of time, कि अमित त्रिवेदी का फर्स्ट एंड आशीष मंचंदा ने मिक्स किया है उसको. We went to Ashish Manchanda with 7 songs that we had recorded already, and we wanted to release our first album, and we were going to call the album Alif. तो 7 सॉन्ग लेके गए हम उनके पास, और he saw a lot of potential in the songs and in the band, and he said, you know, I am starting record label and I will offer you a deal. Why don't you guys come on board? Songs are great, but the recording quality is not up to the standards, so we'll record everything again. Why don't you guys come on board? So we got a record deal at that point of time, and that was like I think I remember all of us just celebrating there on the street in Prabhadevi. Yeah, हम लोग ऐसा सब वो समोसा सैंडविच खा रहे थे रात को 12-1 बजे. That was really like wonderful for a band just coming up and recording, and to be recognized by such a well-known personality in the Bollywood industry. So it was very, very big for us at that point of time. And it just felt like, you know, everything is happening fantastic for us. But that is where like one of the downsides came in. So as a record label, we had to sign a contract and a deal, and everyone in the band wasn't ready to leave their jobs and come on board full time, because others were still working in the IT companies. And then there was a lot of back and forth between the band and band members, between Ashish Manchanda, and all of us were discussing, you know, how can we make this happen. But then ultimately, except Muneem and I, rest of them couldn't sign the deal and, you know, couldn't leave jobs and come on board full time. So then Muneem and I signed the contract, and then that became kind of the core band, and the others initially used to still come and perform for live shows, but then slowly that also kind of faded away, because the record label was telling us कि अभी you need like a proper band which is completely dedicated to this and structured, and we have to do a lot of rehearsals, we have to do a lot of recordings. So we I think signed with them in 2013. 12 to 13 was a year where there were a lot of discussions and all of this, and then finally we signed in 2013. And but then still, because the band members left and stuff was not going right, हमारा album also got delayed a lot, Alif ka. So once we changed the name of the band from Highway 61 to Alif, because that kind of made sense at that point of time. We are doing music in Urdu and Kashmiri, and there was no point in calling ourselves Highway 61. So Alif ka first album came out in 2017 finally. Okay. So it took that much amount of time for us to release the first album. Looking back at it now, it kind of feels that was probably the right point of time to release it, because the songs weren't ready, the sound of the band wasn't ready. So unless and until Aman Morone, so Aman is the band's producer. So Ashish Manchanda is like the executive producer, but then Aman Morone kind of, I would say, he formed the sound of the band Alif that you hear now. Highway 61 ke time pe we were more rock and metal oriented, and all of this, it comes from the influence of people, right? So at that point of time, this was the band, and that was un sabka experience and influence was getting poured into the songs that we are creating. But now we wanted to create a unique sound, and that is where Aman helped us create the sound of Alif. So that is when, after the first album, you know, stuff started falling into place, and then we did a couple of good collaborations with 101 India. So that's a website which was headed by an ex MTV executive, and we did this song with them called Like a Sufi and also Jehlimus. So those two songs were kind of like a turning point. It defined the sound of the band, as well as it gave us some recognition that we could put it out in the world and say this is us.
This is a good connection.
Yeah. And that really worked well, and from then on we started performing in different festivals, different places. And during this time also, because it was a requirement in for music club as well as a requirement for the band के कुछ posters बनाने हैं या फिर editing करना है, music video का editing करना है, I kind of started getting interested in that as well. तो अभी तक का जो भी अलिफ का music videos that you see online, I think 70 to 80% stuff I have edited. Then I had to make pitch decks. So we also started through Music Club this thing called Corporate Clef, where you used to go to companies and teach music inside company premises. At one point of time, we had 11 corporates signed up with us in Hinjawadi. I remember we went to Barclays for registrations, और एक दिन में we got around 100 or 130 registrations, corporate clef. And I remember मैं और मुनीम ऐसे 2 बैग भर के कैश लेके निकले थे उधर से. And when we were also looking around कि इतना कैश लेके हम लोग उधर से निकले हैं, because we not only were doing classes, we tied up with like a guitar distributor, and we were offering a guitar as well as part of the package. So we sold 100 guitars at one point of time. And if you go back and see Music Club ka purane photos, you will see and at that point of time my friend Vivek, he was working with us. तो मैं और विवेक ऐसे बैठे in middle of like 100 guitars. तो हमने ऐसा 100 guitars का circle बनाया और उस बीच में बैठ के we took a photograph. So all of these were like fantastic, exciting times. But then as we went along, right, say 2017-ish ke time, I was not realizing at that point of time, but I was getting burnt out. Because there was so many things I was doing together, and then of course some things are working, some things are not working. There was a lot of tension कि album नहीं आ रहा है अभी बाहर. 2013 में साइन किया, 5 साल हो गए, एल्बम नहीं निकला है और बार बार उसी के ऊपर काम हो रहा है. एंड देयर इज लॉट ऑफ बैंड मेंबर्स नहीं मिल रहे, लाइव शोज नहीं मिल रहे, लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स वर हैपनिंग. सो I kind of like completely burnt out at that point of time. Somehow started losing interest also a little bit in doing all of this together. So I was going through the motions. I was doing a lot of things which I was supposed to do, but you know, जैसे हार्दिक which is दिल से, तो दिल नहीं था उसके अंदर. और धीरे धीरे you know it started taking a toll on me. So I went through a phase of being depressed for some time, and because stuff wasn't working out, not being inspired to do anything at all. So that was a very tough time for me, not only on me but on the band, on my wife, on the family, because I was always like I became a guy who was like who's always sad, who's heavy, कुछ नहीं कर रहा है, or he just doesn't seem interested in anything. So it kind of was heavy. Or even if I was on surface, if I would talk to you, I would talk to you normally, and you know I would smile, I would laugh, but then internally there is so much going on, such turmoil, that no action occurs. I wouldn't even feel like getting out of the sofa or the bed, and it just feels like completely pointless. And if you see some of the songs, some of the poetry stuff that I've written, you will see this in the songs. So in fact, there's one rap kind of thing that I had written, which I'll say now. Okay, so which kind of reflects what I was going through at that point of time. So it goes like this. हर सुबह आईने में चेहरा है नया ये दिखता, कोरा कागज झुर्रियों से कैसी ये कहानी लिखता, कहने को तो मेरी दुनिया में कमी न कोई खास, फिर भी दिल के एक कोने से ये आती है आवाज़, ये सोचती है ढूंढती है क्या ये ज़िंदगी है, पूछती है क्या किया है काम जो तुझे मिले आराम, पल ये दिन ये हफ्ते महीने कब के बन गए हैं साल, कल के दिन ये सस्ते नहीं है महंगे है सफ़ेद बाल, छोड़ेगा क्या तू कल पे सीखेगा क्या वो तुझसे. सो आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट माई सन. छोड़ेगा क्या तू कल पे सीखेगा क्या वो तुझसे, मिसाल देगा क्या वो तेरी गर्व से अपने कल से, समय है अब भी सोचना नहीं है तेरा काम, कर ले जो भी है तू करना जल्दी हो रही है शाम, छुपा ले सारे गम को झूठी इस हंसी के पीछे, सब सही है सब सही है सब सही है गा तू मुस्कुरा के. सो दिस इज व्हाट आई वाज गोइंग थ्रू एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम.
What I feel is, ultimately we all are humans, wired with various emotions. We are not machines. अप डाउन हर एक की लाइफ में होता है, लेकिन ये डाउन वाली मोमेंट में भी कैसे आप वापिस आते हो. और हार्दिक वो मोमेंट में भी ये गाने लिखते हैं. वो फिर भी अपने अंदर क्या चल रहा है उसको बाहर एक्सप्रेस करते हैं ये गाने से. इट इज़ वर्थ ऑफ इंस्पिरेशन टू ऑल ऑफ अस. कभी भी कोई ऐसी मोमेंट आए ना, शायद अगर आ भी जाए, ये एपिसोड को या पर्टिकुलर ये पोर्शन को सुन भी लोगे ना, ये काम में आएगा ही. खैर, आप लोग तो हमारी बातें सुन रहे हो, लेकिन मैं तो हार्दिक से फेस टू फेस आज बात कर रहा हूँ. सो आई कैन सी हिज एक्सप्रेशंस. वो जज्बा दिखता है टू बाउंस बैक, एंड ही इज देयर.
And this is where I think I haven't publicly announced or said this in a public forum anywhere, but I left the band Alif. Muneem and I we were shooting for Made in Heaven season 2. So Made in Heaven season 2 में हमारा एक गाना है, and they called us to shoot for the episode. And during that time I told Muneem that listen, this entire thing is taking a lot of toll on me. And he had of course seen it also, like he was watching me go through all of these things. And when I told him that I want to take a break and don't want to do this anymore, he understood it. Of course it was a shock for him as well. So during this time also lockdown mein, so I spent 8 months in Kashmir in chunks. So 3 months ka time, 2 months ka time, as I spent around 6-8 months in Kashmir to make the last 2 albums that are out. So Siyah Hal and Siyah Mazi, ये दोनों हमने वहाँ पे create किए हैं कश्मीर में. So we used to record there and we used to send it to Aman, and also we were also shooting videos वहाँ पे.
Yes.
So दोनों in fact सिया हाल के 4 गाने और माजी के 5 गाने सब हमने वहीं पे शूट किए हैं. सारा का एडिटिंग भी मैंने किया है. एंड माई वाइफ फॉर्चुनेटली सपोर्टेड मी अ लॉट ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम, एंड इवन माई पेरेंट्स दे आर लाइक ओके यू टेक योर टाइम. ऑफ कोर्स दे डिडंट नो that I was going through something like this, but my father absolutely supported me. He is like, I'll give you monthly some amount of money for you guys to survive till you figure out something that you want to do. I just completely took a break, and that is when I found triathlon, Ironman triathlon. So I So 2017 में I got into like fitness very heavily. So at that point of time it was all going to gym और वहाँ पे strength training और ऐसा सब. So mostly I got into that and calisthenics and all of that. So 2017 में there was a point of time where I had like 4 packs, almost 6 packs. Then it all fizzled out during this phase of mine. But ये बैक ऑफ द माइंड में ऑलवेज था कि आयरन मैन एक बार करना है. Because this challenge of doing 3.8 kilometers swim, 180 kilometers cycling, and then a full marathon of 42 kilometers in one stretch, one after another, and you get like 17 hours to complete this. And this seemed like a fantastic challenge which एक बार तो लाइफ में करने का है. ये मेरे दिमाग में सो एक सबकॉन्शियस में बैठ गया था कि ये करना है एक बार. So I was waiting outside my son's Hindi Marathi class, and that is where I found Michael. So Michael Lenig, he's from Germany, but he's now settled in Pune. And once I had seen him in his full gear, ऐसा cycling suit पहना है उन्होंने, and he's with this fancy looking road bike. So I had seen him once, and then I understood that he's an athlete, like. So I asked him then, I saw you with this, are you an athlete, what do you do? So he said, I coach people in all these 3 sports. I train you for triathlon. So wahi pe, I think something just inside me, it was like, yahi hai, ye karna hai. So I told him I want to join. So he said, go to my website, check out the amount. And it was like quite a good amount of money per month for me to spend at that point of time. But I said, karna hai, let it go. This is investment in myself. I want to do this. Next day I met him. He took my history, kya karte hai, and then we started. And now it has been 9 months. I have been doing every morning. So every week we have twice a week running, twice a week swimming, twice a week cycling. I wake up at 4:30. I have training at 6. Every morning. I have been doing this for 9 months now, and it has changed my life. Very honestly, it has just completely shifted my life. Because now I identify as a triathlete, this person who wakes up at 4:30, who's training in the morning before anyone gets ready. I have done my training. Yeah, दुनिया सो रही है तब तक at that point of time I already I'm 9 o'clock, I am ready after doing all like this grueling training that we are doing every day. And this finally, now I am realizing it after speaking to my wife, and also my wife is currently pursuing her master's in expressive movement therapy. So that whole thing is about how moving your body affects the mind, right? So that is expressive movement therapy. I think that was what was happening to me. Every morning I wake up, I move so much, either it is swim, cycle or run, and that kind of gives me these endorphins right in the morning, right? So in the morning itself, you have all of these positive hormones flowing through you. Yes. And that kind of sets you up for the day. Everything that is happening throughout the day is coming from this happiness. That's why I've kind of started saying that I am not training for Ironman, I am a triathlete. Like how I am not making this album, I am a musician. Or I am not editing this video, I am a filmmaker. Same way, I'm just saying that I'm a triathlete. Because I am not here for the goal. I am here for the journey. It is part of my life. And I had an anxiety about the future. But what now I have started doing is that now I understand that the past can only inform me. That is not my present. It informs what happened and how I can change. कि ये हुआ मेरे साथ, okay. या ये हुआ, इससे क्या मैंने सीखा, right? And then constantly being aware of the present, being here, right now. Right now, I am sitting in the studio, I am talking to you. This is what I am doing. I have nothing else on my mind. Same way, anything like अगर सुबह I'm going for training, I am in this training. Today I am running. So अगर 10 प्रोजेक्ट चल रहे हैं, कुछ ये हुआ वो हुआ, जो भी चल रहा है दिमाग में, बिकॉज यू कैंट स्टॉप योर थॉट्स.
वो चैटर तो चलता ही है,
चैटर कॉन्स्टेंटली चलता रहता है. सो यू हैव टू स्टार्ट ट्रेनिंग योर माइंड टू बी अवेयर ऑफ द प्रेजेंट मोमेंट, दैट आई एम हियर राइट नाउ टू डू दिस रन and I'm going to only focus on that and nothing else. So same, and it sounds very easy,
It's tough.
yeah, easy to say, and advice देना बहुत easy होता है. To implement it takes practice.
So what is next, Hardik? अभी आप क्या कर रहे हो? What is your future plan?
And now I am actually getting back to the place where I'm excited about stuff. So I'm building this new video production house now. I'm excited about video. So I'm learning video editing, VFX, doing video work, and I'm just like, this is a new baby.
कहता हूँ ना मेरे लिसनर्स, बच्चे बन के रहो, बी क्यूरियस, नई नई चीजें सीखते रहो.
Oh, I think we have heard it a lot of time, childlike curiosity. And there is no point, I think, लोग बोलते हैं ना कि कैसे बच्चों जैसी बातें कर रहा है, बट आई थिंक बच्चों जैसी ही बात करनी चाहिए. No filtering, no nothing, complete curiosity about the world. And if you start approaching the world like that, be curious about things.
Yes. And we have almost come to the end of the episode. Last song from Hardik in this inspiring talk, Jazba. Good luck in your journey, wherever you are, my dear listeners.
दिल खुश है ना खुश है या दिल में कुछ है, दिल की बात तेला जुबा पे यारा क्यों तू चुप है. पूछा क्या तूने दिल ये क्यों गुमसुम है, दिल की बात तेला जुबा पे यारा क्यों तू चुप है. समझे जरा गम ये तेरा, बांटे जरा कम हो जरा, ढूंढे जरा इनमें है खुशियां कहाँ, और गाए ओ ओ ओ ओ ओ ओ ओ ओ ओ ओ ओ ओ. हम तेरे साथ हम तेरे हम कदम है, हमको जाना है वहाँ जहाँ छूटा बचपन है. हंस देना पगले अब तू आंखें नम है, हमको जाना है वहाँ जहाँ छूटा बचपन है. चल दे जरा देख जरा ख्वाब तेरा ख्वाब मेरा, ढूंढे जरा इनमें है खुशियाँ कहाँ, ओ ओ ओ और गाए ओ ओ ओ ओ ओ ओ ओ ओ ओ ओ ओ
Awesome! And finally, we are coming to the end of this episode. Thanks a lot, Hardik. And by the way, if you want to learn more about music, because Hardik is also teaching kids music as a school curriculum, just reach out to him on Instagram, Hardik V. Instagram contact details of this guest is in this episode description. Signing off.